we're really wanting, I guess, companies that may not have the opportunity otherwise to get in front of a big audience. We want to reach at least 1.1 to 1.2 million marketers throughout the event. And so as part of that, we really want to honor the winners and the folks that actually proved it and earned that they are the most innovative. So the winners really do get that pride of place within the MarTech Weekly and the MarTech 100 awards event.
You're listening to the Digital Data Café podcast, where we talk about everything data-driven in your world. Join us each week to hear from the world's top business and industry leaders on why using data in a digital world matters. Here's your host, Albert Thompson.
Hello, another episode of Digital Data Cafe. I am your host and CEO of Driven IQ, Albert Thompson. I am here with Mr. Juan Mendoza. I'm super excited because he's the so infamous Mr. Juan Mendoza. I heard him the other day on Shapiro's MarTech podcast. Juan, welcome.
Hey, Albert, it's great to join you on the podcast and great to actually finally meet you, the mysterious Albert.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, same here. It's been back and forth, lots of prep and getting staged for the call, but I'm excited and we got a lot of things to unpack today, and I'm really excited to learn more about what you guys are doing at the MarTech Weekly, and would love to kind of learn more about you. So before we kick it off, audiences are always interested. They want to learn. Tell us more about you and who's Juan Mendoza, and tell us your story.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm Juan Mendoza. I write the MarTech Weekly newsletter and obviously the founder and CEO of the company. But what we do at the MarTech Weekly is we help folks that are working in the marketing tech space to figure out what's actually happening. What are the pressures, the changes, the hype cycles, the trends that are actually going on in the marketing tech space. About 3 years ago, in the height of COVID, and I remember back then, every man, woman, child had their own podcast or webinar or article or whatever. But at that time, like all the consumer attention shifted online. And I was working as a consultant, working with enterprise brands, helping them to stand up their marketing technology programs, from everything from customer data platforms to marketing automation to personalization and A/B testing, through to media buying and ad tech. I was working with a lot of enterprise brands, and increasingly the questions came throughout COVID in particular was, where's this industry going? I mean, there's so much change, so much innovation. There's more than 11,000 companies in this space. It grew from 2022 to 2023. It grew by 1,000 new marketing technology companies. And so there's so many companies now in the marketing tech space. There's more, LXA estimates there's more than $300 billion in value in the MarTech industry. And I found back in 2020, I was like, hey, it's actually pretty hard to figure out what are the main things worth paying attention to in the marketing tech space. And so I started writing. I started writing on LinkedIn, doing a very small summary each week on Fridays about this is the things that I've read. These are the things that may be important as shifts in the marketing tech industry. And then over that time, it grew and I reached about 30,000 people in that first 3 months. Post that, I launched a newsletter, and then I launched Making Sense of MarTech, the podcast, shortly after that. And then we've been growing and growing and growing. And now we reach subscribers in over 65 countries, from folks that work at Gartner or New York Times, consumer brands like Spotify, large marketing tech vendors like Adobe and Salesforce. And so we've captured this really interesting audience and this community of folks that across a wide spectrum of the marketing tech industry, that all really want to get a view on what's the main changes in the industry, what should they prepare for in their career, what they should prepare their business for as the marketing technology industry evolves and develops. And so it's been a real joy. It's been really wonderful. We also do a bunch of collaborations. So as you mentioned, we do collaborate with the MarTech podcast, wonderful folks over there on the West Coast of the US.
Yep.
Also with Scott Brinker, we run another show called Big MarTech, which is a talk show talking about the shifts. And Scott Brinker, he's the SVP of Platform Ecosystem over at HubSpot, but he's also famously known as the guy behind the MarTech Landscape, which is the 11,000 companies on one PowerPoint slide. And so he and I debate, discuss as a talk show what's actually happening in the MarTech industry. And then also, and lastly, we also are running the MarTech Weekly 100, the TMW 100, which is the world's first marketing technology awards event, tracking the most innovative marketing technology companies from first place to 100th place. So that's actually, applications are open now, and I'm happy to dig in a little bit more with that with you today, Albert. But Yeah, so that's us. We're really helping folks to figure out what is actually going on in this crazy world, which is the marketing tech industry.
That's right. No, it's incredible. And to be honest with you, that's one of the things that got me the most excited about it. I was watching you on Mr. Shapiro's show, and what's even kind of more interesting, right, is the fact is, I'll kind of let everybody know, but you are in Australia today, right? So you're in Australia, I'm on the East Coast, and it's just amazing how these things can bring us together. But when you talk about your background, and when you talk about how this really all culminated with COVID and how the dynamic with the MarTech landscape changed, I couldn't agree with you more. My background, 25 plus years, advertising, digital MarTech, advertising experience, working with large brands and OEMs, and I couldn't agree with you more that I think COVID really accelerated that landscape, and in particular how consumers engaged in their shopping behaviors. When you started putting all of this together, and you started writing and doing your blogs and really bringing all of this together for the MarTech Weekly, was this some of the things that led you to be the CEO of the MarTech Weekly, or what were some of the dynamics that you saw changing in the ecosystem that was really encouraging for you?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that's quite fascinating about, I guess, the media landscape in tech, not just the marketing tech, but in broader tech circles like fintech or just general consumer tech, is that it is a very hype-driven media space.
Yep.
There is so much hype, and oh my God, like we've lived through the blockchain Web3 revolution that never happened. Ended up being a whimper and it collapsed. We had the metaverse, and Mark Zuckerberg's vision for the metaverse, and then you had consultancies like McKinsey say that by 2030, the metaverse is going to create $5 trillion in value. I think that Meta is even struggling to get a few thousand people per day on their platforms, their VR metaverse platforms. And then now we're kind of living in this generative AI hype cycle, right? Yep. And what I find is fascinating is that what captures the zeitgeist in the media space is these hype cycles. It's what everyone's talking about. It's what everyone's posting on LinkedIn and Twitter. It's what the journalists cover because they're on those platforms, and it creates this hype. But what's really interesting is if you pay attention to the marketing tech space, you do have hype, but you also have pressure, and pressure changes the industry in ways that people don't really comprehend, and it's not as flashy and as interesting and as hypey as something like the metaverse or blockchain, Web3 or crypto. One of those pressures is privacy. I talk about privacy a lot, and my audience reads it, but it's definitely not the most engaging stuff. If I did an essay on the metaverse versus privacy, the metaverse essays are going to get way more attention and way more engagement. But privacy is one of the pressures that have an even more significant change to the industry. I mean, right now we're in this space where Apple's making significant dynamic shifts to how we can track and target users. We've got Google deprecating cookies, third-party cookies, because they want to address consumer concerns, about their privacy. And then we also have government regulations. We have the CCPA in California, GDPR, which is ramping up still. And we have a consumer situation where we have all these consumers that are majority of the Pew Research Center say that 70% of American consumers are worried about what data is being collected about them online. That's right. And so if you look at all of that, that is a shift in how the marketers day to day will change how they do their job, and how they actually work and what technologies they buy and what kind of strategies they devise in a changing landscape that's increasingly privacy focused. Now, that is not a hype cycle, but that is so consequential. In the same way as composable CDP or composable architecture in marketing technology, the same sort of trends, not as hypey. It's not going to capture the zeitgeist, but it has. We have all these fantastic startups building composable modular technologies on top of the data warehouse and to better integrate within ecosystems and MarTech stacks. But again, people talk about it. It's an interesting shift, but the amount of investment, like VC dollars, and also product development from these startups over the past 6 months alone has been mind-blowing. I've seen small company startups like High Touch Data go from we're reverse ETL, we're just an ETL provider, to we've got a full customer 360 suite and a platform. We've got Sensor, same deal, Rudderstack, and these other platforms. We've got mParticle and other customer data platforms that are basically following in the footsteps or in the wake of these new composable warehouse native marketing technologies. But you know what? There's not a lot of hype around it, but it has a lot of
Uh,
influence and a lot of shift into how marketers use technology day to day. So I guess that I guess I would like to differentiate between what's hype and what's pressure, or what's real innovation and change. And that, I guess, that leads us to TMW 100, which we're so excited about, because
yeah.
I guess for us, we get to see which companies are actually innovating outside of the hype. I've met some wonderful companies like Driven IQ that are doing some great
Yeah.
stuff. Most people would never hear
Okay.
about because it's not
That's right.
captured in some sort of hype cycle.
No, that's absolutely right. And just to touch on a little bit about what you're mentioning, and I completely agree with you. I think there's a lot of hype cycle, and and we'll get to the TMW 100, because that's even what the whole purpose of this podcast today is to really share that with the world and let everybody know what's going on with that. But I completely agree with you in terms of the MarTech space, AI and ML, widely touted as transformative technologies. And that's going to get really all of the buzz out there and getting everybody exploring and looking at AI and ChatGPT and all these great things. But despite that, right, you still have the disillusionment phase. And these continue to be those significant forces. And I agree with you in the marketing ad tech space. That's going to be the things that make the difference, the pressure that you're talking about. And it's interesting that you brought in a high tech, because there's the legacy CDP, right, versus the composable new activation of data that you already have in your data warehouse, right, without having to add a lot of additional steps of data stores to really move that data around, and it shortens that cycle to be able to seamlessly move that data in the warehouse within minutes. But again, I think that's the stuff that's really going to transform the way that we do business with our customers, especially from a first party standpoint and privacy. So that definitely does, to me, make the biggest changes that's emerging as a solution that's better suited in the market. I think that's why things like this TMW 100, and if you could, share with the audience, that's why this is so important, right? Because how do you decipher hype versus the transformative emerging technologies and enter in TMW 100? So tell a little bit more about that.
Well, as I get into this, I got a question for you, Albert. So my question is this: have you attempted to get on, say, a Gartner Magic Quadrant or a Forrester Wave? Have you ever dealt with those sort of big enterprise research firms that track technology trends?
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we've had several conversations with Gartner and Forrester, and we've definitely been working with them, and actually, hopefully, looking to engage with them this year.
Well, it's fascinating, right? Because when we look at which companies are innovating or which companies are better than others, and how we rank or evaluate different tech companies, there's sort of two sources of data in the industry. We've got the top of the town research analyst firms like Gartner and Forrester that capture a lot of the attention. And the reason why is that Gartner and Forrester have just been around for a long time.
That's right. That's right.
Been around
They carry the weight, man. The Magic Quadrant, all that, they carry the weight.
Yeah, they've just got a brand. They're like the Disney of the MarTech space. They've just been around for a long time, and they're producing a lot of, a lot of the content is actually pretty high quality. And then you've got G2, right, or Capterra or Trust Radius, which is like your event, like your rankings and your marketplaces for SaaS technologies. And and actually speaking to our judges, we have 12 judges that represent the international MarTech community. We've just done a bunch of video interviews with these folks. And I asked them in the interview, why join as a judge for TMW 100? It's its first year. It's obviously, we haven't been done before. And I asked them why, and all of them said, like the majority of them actually said that the way in which we assess vendors in marketing is broken. It's very hard because in the Gartner Forrester situation, it's very opaque. You've got analysts that are employed by Gartner and Forrester. You look at the Magic Quadrant and you've got the challengers and the leaders and and all these different definitions, but there's no definition in there that says this is good and this is bad. It's kind of like everyone wins a prize in a way. I call like and not to denigrate them so much, but I kind of call those quadrants and those waves as almost like a Myers-Briggs personality test for marketing tech companies. Are you a challenger or are you a leader? What does it actually say about the tech? What does it actually say about how you serve your customers? And yes, there's a lot of detailed research as part of that. But that's one aspect. It's very opaque. You don't really understand what considerations are brought into those things. And then with G2 and the other sort of ranking marketplaces, you see this a lot where, and I get a lot of ads myself saying, hey, leave a review for us on G2 and we'll buy you a $25 Amazon gift card. And when I talk to the judges, And these are folks like Scott Brinker and Franz Riemer, Smart MarTech Tribe, Kirsten Klissian from Marketing Tech Lab in Europe. These are all professionals. I mean, worked 20 years plus in the industry, and all of them are agreeing with me and saying that they can't trust those rankings anymore for their own research. They can't trust them because they're either purchased through Amazon gift cards, or they've got undue influence from vendors, or you just don't get access to what the analysts are actually thinking and how they assess these tech companies. And so the MarTech Weekly 100, the TMW 100, is a solution to that, or attempt to solve that, which is really thinking about how do we give this vendor rankings back to the community, where it's not gated up by a marketplace, or it's not gated up by an analyst vendor firm. We want to give it back to the community. And the way we're doing that is we have 12 judges that represent the global industry. So from folks that live or that work out of far-flung places like Nairobi, Kenya, all the way through to Singapore, into Germany, in Europe, also in the United States, down here in Australia, and Canada as well. So we've got an international representation of judges. All of those judges have signed on to say they're independent, vendor neutral, and they will judge from that perspective, including all of our judges. And then we have, so the judges select the 100 list. So any company can apply, and the judges select the 100, and they select the 100 through random allocation and voting. So they get all of the companies who evenly allocate them to all the judges, and then they get 8 votes each, to total up to 100 votes for the 100 list. Once we have the 100 list, we actually give that to the community. So the marketing public, the people who matter the most, the marketers who are using the technology, they get to vote however much they like for the tech companies they think are innovative. And so what we're really hoping for is that out of that, we get the aspects from the influence from the judges, who are the people who are actually leading the industry. And then we also get the folks that use the technology every day. And that will give us a bit of a signal as to, from first place to 100th place, which are the most innovative. And so that's kind of the problem we're wanting to solve. We want to bring trust back into how we're assessing vendors. We want to make it fun, of course, right? Like, where we have a ceremony in Anaheim, California in November, and we fly first, second, and third place out. We have a big party and all of that. And as part of that, people's choice voting, it's very fun, it's exciting. But also, we want to give the community a better say into which companies are actually building the future of MarTech.
It's exciting that you're doing this, right? Because I mean, look, companies like Forrester, Gartner, Capterra, G2, they're all very popular websites, right? And they offer reviews, they offer ratings for various software products, MarTech, ad tech. And I think I have to agree with you. I mean, although these platforms are helpful, right? They're not always 100% genuine. And I think that there's a couple things, on the notes that I took today, right? So, obviously, and you touched on, right? Reviewer expertise and being agnostic. I think it's essential that, when you have your reviewers that are looking at the technology, that you got to consider the expertise of who they are, right? Their backgrounds, and they have to be agnostic. And I think coming in from that neutral background, and having that experience in the industry is going to really help to bring a unbiased approach to the software's capabilities, leading to less biased feedback, and more insightful and more accurate feedback to the technology. And then again, I think you can omit some of the things that we struggle with today, right? Paid promotions. Let's face it, pay to play. Some of these reviews on these platforms may not even be entirely genuine, right? I mean, let's face it. How many times have we said, hey, to our favorite customer or to our favorite employee, review us, right? And these are the cases, right, where I think fake or biased reviews where vendors and competitors can manipulate the ratings that real companies are making critical analysis on these reviews to look for true platforms that they want to actually engage with. So I think this is what excites me the most about the TMW 100 is you're trying to solve that problem.
Yeah, I think we're trying to solve it in a way that's fun, like I don't know about you, but the last time I read a vendor analysis report, it's like 100 pages, and there's so much dense
yes.
in there, right? And
yes.
and I guess throughout the event, where we've got our public event, which we do the keynote, we announce the winners, we have a panel with the first, second, and third place. But at the end of the year, we've got what we're calling the MarTech Innovation Index report. So that's where we do deep dives into the 100 list and what's unique about them. We get folks from across the industry add their perspectives, and of course the judges as well. And so like the whole idea is that it's just whenever I work with folks, including yourself, across the marketing tech industry, no matter if it's in Singapore or if it's in, say, Florida, where you're at the moment, or here in Australia, I mean, getting perspectives from the community is just so valuable and so rewarding. And that's what we're really wanting to tackle with the end of year report that really features and honors the 100 list. Is that we want to get the community to react to it and go, oh, I didn't know this company, maybe they've been around for 15 years, but they're still innovating. That's cool, right? Or this company that has less than 5 employees has been able to completely disrupt a whole category of MarTech, and to get a community's reaction from that, I think is going to be fascinating and interesting. And so that's the whole point, is to give it back to the community and the folks that work in this industry day after day after day, building this stuff, making it work, failing, trying again and again, to actually let them have a say to actually which companies are innovative and help them reflect on, okay, well, how does this influence their MarTech stack or their purchasing decisions as well? So, I mean, look, marketing is such a fun job. It is the most creative, dynamic role in any business. I think marketing is one of the hardest jobs in any business because there's nothing set in marketing. Like in marketing, you have to do your analysis and find a strategy, execute on it to get to business outcomes, right? And most roles in any company don't have that dynamicism to it. And I feel like we're missing that a lot in the MarTech space, where it's this stodgy old massive 100-page reports, or, you see the same vendors again and again and again, and it's stale and it's just kind of boring, like there is some absolutely fascinating marketing tech companies I've come across, even in the past couple of weeks, that have applied for TMW 100 that I've never even heard about, like wonderful social media companies based out of, for example, Nairobi, Kenya, or up in Lithuania, this company that's using AI for legal checks for marketing copy. Just wonderful, fascinating tech companies you never hear about because they just don't have the marketing budget to reach, say, majority of MarTech buyers up in the United States or around the world. So I think it's going to be exciting and very interesting. But again, you never know. It's our first event, so let's see if we can solve the problem.
Well, no, I think that I think it is. I think it's already starting to solve the problem. You're getting a lot of buzz, and I hope that we contribute to some of that buzz. And I know we've kind of gone off sidetrack here a little bit, but let me circle back. So, and you've kind of mentioned it already, right? You talk about companies in Nairobi that are doing some cutting edge things, Lithuania. So for those that are out there listening, right, who maybe don't think that they should participate, I mean, give us a general idea of what type of awards are there going to be. Awards in creative, awards in marketing? Are you doing a subset, digital marketing, or what type of general awards are going to be given? And then I guess the second part of that is, what type of companies should apply, and should people be afraid to apply? So should a small startup be afraid, or should everybody apply?
Yeah, no, great questions. I think so. So the categories we're doing it. So again, very different from what you normally see. You see vendor rankings based on each category. So the top company in CRM, the top company in marketing automation, as an example. But what we're doing is actually we're having a global list of first place, second, third, fourth place down to 100th place. So all companies, all vendors, all categories rolled up into a single point of focus, which is first place. The holy grail of marketing tech, right? And the reason we're doing
I think as Shapiro said it, right? Not to cut you off, but as the way Shapiro said it, right? The man of the year, right? The sexiest of the year, right? So explain that, because I think that's a concept. I gotta tell you, I remember you guys went back and forth. I was like, that's a concept that people are gonna have to get their head around. Wait, what do you mean? There's not going to be a top number one for CRM or a top one for a DSP? So what do you mean 1 through 100? There's only one winner.
Yeah, there's only one winner, and the reason for that is we want all the focus on the winner. There's only one winner. And when you have an awards event, say for example, Cannes Lions, they're not a tech awards event, they're obviously an advertising event. They take 5 days to cycle through all of their winners for all the dozens of categories that they have. And I get the sense that when you break things down by categories, everyone wins a prize. I mean, how far niche do you want to go down? We're number one. We're a number one CRM company for SaaS businesses that are this big, right? Okay, there's probably like 3 vendors in that category.
In the state of Maryland. In the state of Maryland. Yeah.
Yeah, in the state of Maryland. Yeah, exactly. In the state of Maryland. Yeah. They happen to have a certain head count, right? Okay, cool. Like there's one vendor. Congratulations, you win a prize. There you go. Go put it on your website. But I guess but what I'm really excited about is there's only one winner out of however many applications we get right through to the 100 list. There's only one winner. Now, that's not just to say that's just for the event, like the actual event. We announced a first, second, third place down to 100th place. But
Okay.
actually, as part of our research, we do a few things. So companies can apply through 3 different categories. So when we look at innovation in marketing tech, you can apply through new product and technology. So you launch a new feature, a new product, great. The second one is customer service. As a marketing tech company, how are you serving your customers, and how are you making them successful? Are you innovating in that space? Are you building, say, an online community, or a better way to help them self-service, or product tutorials, etc.? And then the last one in innovation is business model, new pricing models, new strategies to grow your business. And we have these 3 categories. So we'll announce first, second, third place across these as well. So there'll be the global 1 to 100. And as part of our research, as we release it, that'll be in December. We'll actually announce the winners across those 3 categories. So number 1 in product, number 1 in customer service or success, and number 1 in business model. And then we'll also probably do some drill downs into each category and where they sort of fit within the 100 as well. Like, we probably will still do the CRM aspect, but it won't be the focus of the event. It'll be part of our research, really. As we release that in December. But again, all of these things, we want to get a view from the industry of how companies are innovating. I don't think MarTech is just innovating in product. It's also innovating in customer success and business. So I think that's sort of the first aspect there. Why we're not doing category-based awards? Well, we just don't want to create a situation where everyone wins a prize. We actually want a winner. We want a bunch of losers. We want it to be like the Olympics, right? Like the Olympics, there's only going to be one winner of the 100-meter race, and then everyone loses.
That's right.
And we want all the glory to go to that one person that wins, or that one tech company that wins.
I think it's innovative. I think it's there's a lot of ingenuity behind this. But probably a lot of people out here listening are thinking, so okay, this is great. This is amazing. I want to be in the Olympics. I want to be the winner. I want the glory. So what criteria are you going to do? So I got the Global 100. I've got innovation. I've got customer success, and I got business model. And I get the stepping process here, 1, 2, 3. But what are you guys going to do to evaluate me? And how do I ensure that this is going to be fair? Right?
Yeah, it's a great question. So you can go to the martechweekly.com/TMW100. And then from there, you can register and create a free account. From there, as you go in to apply, there's a few things we ask for. So we ask for some basic company information, URL, social media handles, all that kind of thing. So just a basic info. And we do ask each applicant to appoint a point person, a person that we'll liaise with to get them organized if they're in the 100 list or if they're unsuccessful. Across the actual application itself. So we ask a few things like headcount size. We also ask for what kind of funding they've got, if they're bootstrapped or they're VC, what level of funding. We also ask what territories they're operating in. So, for example, you might be based in the US, but like a lot of your customers are in Asia. So it just gives us a feel for like which companies are operating in which parts of the world. Again, it's helpful for our research and also for the Global 100 list. But going back to the headcount range, this is probably the most important one, just in terms of basic company info. Because the way we actually do public choice voting is, well, we had a problem when we set it up, which was, okay, let's say we get Salesforce with thousands and thousands of employees, and then we have a startup with like less than 5 employees, and they're in the list, and then people can vote for them. How do you make it fair?
That's right.
Well,
how do you make it fair? Right.
Yeah. And so what we've done is we created basically a fairness framework, which is we give multipliers of votes based on your company headcount. So if you're less than 5 employees, you get for every 1 vote that you get online, you basically 5x that. So you get 5 times the votes for every 1. Recognizing that as a startup, as a company with a small headcount, and we also verify that through Clearbit and G2 and make sure that they're telling the truth. But for the companies that are much smaller, they get, for every 1 vote, they get much more. For the larger companies, 1 vote equals just 1 vote for them. So for a company with more than 2,000 employees, 2,000 headcount, they get, of course, just 1 vote for 1 vote. So that's one way we're tackling like how to make it fair for startups. And, we do have, at the moment we've registered, we've got really large enterprise, massive tech companies, and we've also got like 1-person startups. And so, it's going to be fascinating to see that mixed together, but I guess that's one way we've done it. So headcount is really important, but moving on to the innovation criteria, this is the guts of the application, which is if you select whichever track you select, if it's product, customer success, or business innovation, business model innovation, what we ask you to do is to pull together a case study. So we've got 3 questions. What did you try and solve, or what is the basic details of your solution? Give us the case study. What was the problem? What was the solution? What are the outcomes? And what in the past 12 months, what have you achieved with that solution? What has been the business metrics, the outcomes for your customers, etc.? If you haven't launched it yet, and we have startups that haven't actually launched a product, which is super exciting, right? Like companies that are literally right in the early days of product market fit. Fantastic. What we ask for those folks is give us an estimate or a forecast of what you anticipate over the next 12 months your product will deliver. And then outside of that, we ask for up to 3 customer testimonials, which are optional. We also ask for a video demo and also a PDF case study if you have an existing case study. And what I do, and I do get some feedback so far from vendors saying, hey, we're a little bit sensitive around like products we haven't released just yet, and we're a little bit cautious about that. And my feedback to them is try and put something in there that's already publicly available, because that will be presented for the people's choice voting. So those applications and the case studies actually publicly available on our website when we open up people's choice voting. So try and do something that you've already done. It's already in market. There's not any trade secrets or anything like that. That's one of our bits of advice for folks. But yeah, so that's sort of the innovation criteria for applications. For judges, we do have a criteria of 7 different aspects of what judges vote on. So they get 8 votes each. And what they select is we've given them a criteria to assess each application. So for example, commercial outcomes, novelty, like, is it just something new that they've never seen before? Excuse me. Ethics. So is it ethical? It doesn't have an ethical view on it. It leads to good outcomes for businesses. We also have things like if a company has very strong customer testimonials that seem very genuine, and that's another part of the application, criteria is those testimonials. It's really important. So all of those things come to us and say, okay, we've got our applications, and our judges go ahead and vote over a period of a week. So there's quite a bit in it, and it's obviously not going to be easy. You just can't put a website URL in there and say, okay, we're in now. It takes a little bit of work, but what we really hope is that we get some, like, the fantastic bit is that we get like more than 100 case studies in the public of really cool innovation. And we hope that it's a great opportunity for people to explore what different tech companies are doing in the space.
No, it sounds exciting, and I got to say, going back to what you said about just putting a little bit of work. Well, you don't win the Olympics by not putting in some work. So I take it if you want to apply for this, you're going to put some work in. Now, let me ask you this: so those listening, and we're going to get this turned around fairly quickly. I'm going to have our team do the editing and get this launched, and we'll get this all over LinkedIn and wherever we can soon, as well on the podcast. Out there. But here's the thing: so applications, right? If I'm listening to this now, I think we recorded this somewhere at the end of July, beginning of August. How much longer for applications? When can I submit? You talked about the process. Is there still time for companies to get in there and get in the game?
Yes. Yeah. So you can apply. So if you go to martechweekly.com/TMW100, you can apply up until the 25th of August. So 25th of August is when we close. So that'll be Friday, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time, is when we close applications. So you can apply right up to them. There is an application fee. So one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that we actually have a charity partner. So our application fee is $3.99 US. To join and to apply, but we actually are donating 5% to She Loves Data. Now, She Loves Data is a non-for-profit organization that gets women and girls into the marketing tech industry. Fascinating work. They do like hundreds of free workshops, advisory sessions for executives in all different countries. I've been a part of a few of their sessions myself, just blown away by how they're really skilling up women and girls to get into the marketing tech space. So we're donating 5% of all proceeds to She Loves Data, and our application fee also covers our event costs. So we are in partnership with marketingops.com. They're running an event called Mopspalooza, which is kind of a play on words on Lollapalooza, if you've ever been to that famous music festival. But Mopspalooza is happening in Anaheim, California in the 8th of November. And that's where we'll go. It's a festival, more than 500 senior marketing technologists, operators in the biggest brands in the world. We'll all be meeting together, and then we'll be taking 2 hours actually out of the event to announce the winners. We'll have a big after party. We'll have a bunch of opportunities for photos and videos and all of that. And we also fly out first, second, and third place, a delegate from each of those first, second, third place companies for free. So free accommodation flights, join the event for free. And if you obviously get enough votes for that. So within that, our application fee covers quite a bit. It's exposure, of course, for our public event, which is with Mopsapalooza, 5% of charity donations to She Loves Data, and then also following on with that, our end of year report, the MarTech Innovation Index. So for us, it's what we advise companies to do is register, get involved now. You can start your application. You can actually download a PDF example questionnaire of all the questions. So you can use that, chuck it to your team, have a workshop, think about what you want to do, but try and get your applications in before the 25th of August, because that's when the gate closes, and then we'll be moving on to our judges to select the 100.
No, that's super exciting. And I got to tell you, this is, like you said, I think this makes this fun, right? You said you want to talk about it making fun. So at the actual award ceremony event, can you talk a little bit about some of those details, what the winner's going to receive? And I guess the last thing, I mean, you're really trying to make this memorable and impactful. And I think this speaks to what you're saying about the even the application fee. You've thought this thing all the way through down to the application fee of all the things that are going to be a part of this memorable experience. So, tell us about the awards. Tell us about the fun part. What do they receive? I know you've shared some of that already, but what does the global winner get?
Yeah, so the winners get, well, outside of being the glory of being the first ever first place
right.
of,
the first person ever, the first best. Yes.
Yeah, because like it's funny because I've had some tech vendors come to me and say, "Oh, we're gonna wait until next year until we see which companies win," and I'm like, "Yeah, I get it, right? An awards event, you really need to see it to believe it, and next year will probably be much bigger and much harder to get into." However, in the first year, you get the first movers, and it's like it's so fascinating because we actually are wanting innovators, and innovators tend to be the first movers. The people that are actually like, yeah, that's cool, I want to get involved, right? And they don't even like, yes, that makes sense for me, let's go do it. And so that's what's really cool, is that you actually get these first movers that are actually building really innovative tech, and then you'll get all the other folks that come in the following years once they see the actual event and the success of the companies that win it. But just in terms of the actual prizes and what they get, so as part of the awards events, we fly first, second, third place out for free to Mopsapalooza. Then we announce them, we do a winners panel. So for the panel for first, second, third place, we do a part of the ceremony. We obviously give them a trophy. So we're creating trophies at the moment, which is, again, really fun and interesting. But we're giving them a trophy. We're doing a panel with the three. So a good 30-minute panel in front of the audience in the main stage.
Oh, very cool.
And then the winner, first place, actually gets a 20-minute tech demo. So they can bring one of their customers and do it with them, but actually talk through their case study in front of the audience, which is really great. We also give all the companies from 1 to 100, we give them digital badges, similar to what you see from G2. They can present on their website, their marketing collateral, saying that they ranked in a certain space. So they were number 55 out of 100, or they were in the top 25, or a first, second, third place. So we have digital badges that we give as part of the winners for all the 100. They get featured in the MarTech Innovation Index report. We also have a few other goodies. So the MarTech Weekly, we are a premium subscription. So we have a $2.99 US per year subscription fee for our premium subscribers. For first place, your entire team gets that for free. So that could be up to $50,000 in value. Wow. They also get some free value from marketingops.com. So they get up to 5 licenses for their marketing ops, RevOps team to join the online marketing ops community as well. And so, as you can see, lot of really great value. I mean, outside of that, being featured in the MarTech Weekly newsletter and our podcast and all of the sort of media opportunities that come off the back of that as well. So it's well worth it for companies. I mean, we're really wanting, I guess, companies that may not have the opportunity otherwise to get in front of a big audience. We want to reach at least 1.1 to 1.2 million marketers throughout the event. And so as part of that, we really want to honor the winners and the folks that actually proved it and earned that they are the most innovative. So there's plenty of stuff to win. There's some great goodies, some great subscription goodies. Obviously there's plenty of merch to go around as well, t-shirts and stickers and all the rest. But the winners really do get that pride of place within the MarTech Weekly and the MarTech 100 awards event.
I think it's incredible. And I think for those that are listening that are entrepreneurs like myself and like yourself, I mean, this is so exciting, right? It's an opportunity to get out there and really go out there and take advantage of this honor. But like anything, right? The success of an event like this, you got to get it out there. You got to do marketing. You got to promote it. And look, I got to tell you, Juan, you are an innovative ad tech, MarTech guy. There's no doubt about it. We wouldn't even be doing this right now if you were not promoting the TMW 100. So I think that completely solidifies to me and those listening, like you need to get on and participate. But speak about that a little bit, and then we can wrap up with how folks can support you and get involved.
Yeah, so if you would like to join the event, go check it out. You can go to the martechweekly.com/TMW100. You can go there. You can find out more information about our judges. You can also download our information pack. It has all of our media stats and our partner stats. It has a breakdown of which companies have already applied as well. So for example, like 40%, roughly 35-40% now of companies that have applied are all in the customer data platform category. So it's going to be very crowded, but following that, there's,
really?
yeah, there's
35 to 40%. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But below that, there's a pretty broad split out of like ad tech companies, mobile marketing companies, marketing automation, customer experience suites, personalization platforms, A/B testing, experimentation, DAMs and CMSs. So there's like a real mixed bag, but the companies that really want to get involved are the customer data platform categories, which is quite interesting. So yeah, if you'd like to go join that, we are obviously updating everyone on the martechweekly.com newsletter. So you can join us there. You can subscribe for free and go check it out. And if you want more information, you can reach out to me at Juan at the martechweekly.com. That's JUAN at the martechweekly.com. And yeah, we'd love to chat. I mean, I've just taken actually 4 calls this morning with companies wanting to get involved, and they all ask very different questions. And so happy to field questions and help with any troubleshooting as well. If you're a marketing tech company, if you want to build some great tech and show it off to the world, then we're the folks to come and reach out to.
Well, I'll tell you what, Juan, it's been amazing. But I'll tell you what, selfishly, no more data technology platforms. We want to shout at this thing too. So we can talk about that. We can talk about that more another time. But super exciting to have you. It's been incredible. I'm so thankful for the opportunity. And listen, we wish you nothing but the success. TMW 100 is going to be amazing. Is there anything else that you want to share with the listeners today?
My only question is, are we going to see Driven IQ in there?
You're going to see Driven IQ in there. That's right. You will. And listen, we'll talk about that. But that's why I was like, man, 40 CDPs already, because we actually technically qualify as a CDP, even though we focus on audiences.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So
I mean,
by definition, we're a CDP. Yeah.
The definition of CDP is very fluid at the moment. There's a lot of companies claiming to be CDPs, which is a very interesting sort of aspect of the event, because there's so many interpretations of different interpretations of how you manage customer data in companies.
That's right.
Yeah, it's really interesting, mate. But yeah, no, thanks for having me. I mean, just wonderful to join the podcast and to talk about the event. I really appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, we'd love to see you there. I mean, Driven IQ, come on, got to vote for you guys. But
that's right. But I appreciate it so much.
No, thanks again for having me.
No, it's been wonderful. And Juan, thank you so much and congratulations. I appreciate it. Good luck to everybody out there who's going to participate. Best of luck to you.